In panel number 1, the power of SME corporate collaboration in manufacturing. We would like here to cover certain parts of this discussion. We have 4 themes to cover: innovation and technology, collaboration models, challenges and solutions, ecosystem and policy. And hopefully we will have a future outlook, what would be the future of SME collaborations. To cover those challenging questions in 45 minutes, time is already ticking, I think. We have invited 4 excellent panelists here today with us to cover the biggest possible variety of views to the topic. I would like to introduce to you Vidor Kis-Márton, CEO and co-owner of Continest Technologies, Dr. Andrea Horvath, representative of the automotive cluster Debrecen, Markus M. Hoffmann, Chief Sales Officer of the WERAP Group, and Gergő Elek, Managing Director of Dojfol, Hungary. I think the best would be if everyone gives a very short, brief introduction of themselves and their company and what exactly your company or your organization is doing in 2 or 3 sentences. I would like to start with you, Vidor.
Thank you very much, Arne. Good morning, everyone. So as you mentioned, I'm the co-founder, co-owner, and CEO of Continest Technologies. We are a Székesfehérvár-based engineering and manufacturing company working with quite a few people. I see more and more familiar faces in the audience. Basically what we do is very special, very simple, and very unique at the same time. We fold containers due to our patented technology, meaning that we are decreasing 80% of the volume whenever the containers have to be repositioned. We're mainly acting on the temporary infrastructure market, but we're also making some steps towards the logistical market, global logistical market. We are active in 30 countries, as I mentioned, with a Székesfehérvár-based hub, but we already have a contract manufacturing partnership in North Carolina, in the United States, as well in Dubai. So that's in 2 sentences.
Yes, and I can add to that. Yesterday we visited the factory, and I have proof. I stopped the time to build the box from the folded position up to the standing position with all walls, doors, and windows in. It took exactly, how much you guess? 1 minute and 58 seconds. So that's really impressive, Vidor.
We usually market it 3 to 5 minutes, but usually it's under that. So yeah, thank you.
I have proof. Okay, Andrea, please tell us what the automotive cluster Debrecen is doing.
A very warm welcome to everyone. Thank you very much for your kind invitation. Just a few words about myself. I myself am working at the university in Debrecen. My main domain is cultural management, and I'm helping German institutions in management, in innovation. And this is how the automotive cluster, the idea for this was born. We founded this last December, and I am the CEO of this, so this is my role in this panel discussion today here.
We have visited you already recently in Debrecen. I think that is a very good development. You're also combining, of course, small and medium-sized companies and the big ones. So I think it's a very good strategy which you have chosen there in Debrecen. Markus, please give us a short description of yourself and the company.
Thank you very much, Arne. Thank you for the invitation. Welcome to Budapest, dear ladies and gentlemen. My name is Markus Hoffmann. I, in the past, used to live in Hungary for 5 years. Currently, I'm the CSO of WERAP Group. WERAP Group is a company headquartered in Switzerland with sites in Slovakia, Serbia, Romania, and in Germany. Hopefully soon again in Hungary as well. And we are used to be, 20 years ago, typical what we heard from Bosch today, an extended workbench. But these times have long gone. So my company is developing electronics, inductive goods and cabling for industrial applications, for healthcare, like patient control systems. But we also do inductive goods, for example, for munition at Rheinmetall. So we are not just a production bench, we are also developing, we are integrating, and I think we are a valuable part of an ecosystem. And this is something which I will later on tell you more in detail. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Markus. And finally, Gergő, also located in Debrecen. Please give us a short introduction.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. The Doifo Group, probably you haven't heard about this, but we are one of the market leaders of the industrial packing industry based in Germany. What the industrial packing means, I could simply say that everything which is big, heavy, unshaped, so everything what we have to pack and deliver from A to B, we are here for that. The Debrecen operation started in 2019, and since then our headcount growth is about 180%. So right now we have a relatively good scale of the SME size. But we will talk about later on that we don't believe that we are an SME anymore, but that's a topic later on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Going into the questions, I always go around through the panel. Vido, I would like to start with you. How do SMEs contribute to technological innovation in manufacturing ecosystems?
So I was yesterday, the day before yesterday, I was on another panel and about SMEs' role in innovation and everything. And I think it's very simple. SMEs need to survive, right? Especially in these days. And we, not so long ago, we were still a startup. Now I'm still getting used to the terminology of SME, but we are now 100 people, employing 100 people, and had a turnover around 10 million euros. So probably we are not in a startup anymore. Basically, the added value from our part is agility. First of all, like how fast we can address the requirements of the corporations. And when we talk about corporations, I think also government, right? Because in our case, we are active in the defense industry and civilian protection. So how agile you can address the request of the end user, of the customer. And this is coming from the need that you need to stay alive, you need to progress, you need to generate new added value, because otherwise you're being left behind. And this is specifically true for us. We are building containers. It's not rocket science, right? That being said, when we were in the US 2022, in the largest FDI event organized by the Commercial Service of the United States Embassy, we actually won the clean tech technology panel because of the integration capability into containerized solutions. So it's about, thinking out of the box. We building boxes, but thinking out of the box and being very agile and being very responsive. That's I think the highest added value. And large organizations like Bosch or Rheinmetall or any of the big players on the market, they need this because they on their own, they're not very agile because of the corporate structure that they have. But this is something that we can bring to the table, and we actually do on a daily basis. It can be also counterproductive because sometimes you get taken away by the enthusiasm, and then you need to calm down yourself and start thinking about margins and operational profit and all that. But yeah, agility, I think it's one of the high added values from our side to the corporate sector.
Yes, I mean, you said it, you are producing boxes. That is generally, nothing really new, but only the innovation part made you successful.
True. I mean, we broke a mold that was functioning perfectly for 60 years, right? So we disrupted this industry quite interestingly. Although I have an economics background and my business partner has a communication background, so it doesn't really mean that we are supposed to be in this industry, but yeah, the innovation part that we actually acquired from the Netherlands, and this is an interesting Hungarian story, that this is not a Hungarian innovation that was taken to Germany, for example, or to the Netherlands and became a global success story, but it's the other way around. This is a Dutch innovation which was brought to Hungary, and now we are expanding it globally. But the innovation in its own is not enough. Like even the patent, it's not enough. We are being asked, okay, are we patented? Yes, we are patented in 90 countries. We spent 4 years and 200,000 euros on our patents, and we're still being copied from China, from Germany, and from the Netherlands. So it's the attitude, it's the can-do attitude, and it's this kind of survival instinct, which I don't know if it's Hungarian typical or it's more an SME or startup instinct, but yeah, it's innovation, and then go for it. Like no health measures, just 100% 2 feet on the gas pedal kind of approach.
Yeah, and basically innovation today is history tomorrow, right? So you always have to rethink your position. The same what we heard before from Bosch. You have to be faster than the competition with new ideas.
Well, faster and better. All right. So I'm always saying that for us the real protection is the quality of the product, the quality of the service, and the speed of market penetration. Patents are like, I'm not going to be able to sue anybody in China, right? I'm still a Hungarian SME, so how am I going to enforce any patent infringement on my patent? Nobody will give a shit. Excuse my French, but if I produce the best product, if I deliver the best service, and I keep continuously innovating, that's my protection. And the other thing I didn't mention is that we are very consciously a vertically integrated organization, meaning that we have in-house engineering, in-house prototyping, in-house small scale and large scale manufacturing. So when somebody comes to us with a problem, we tell them, okay, tell us what you need and we'll translate it for you. We'll put it in a modular infrastructure language and give you the most optimal result, optimal from technical point of view and from quality point of view as well. So I think this is the mindset that you need. Like we talk about ecosystems. You need to come with solutions. Nobody's interested in products or services on their own. This is what we learned in the last 5 years. Everybody's looking for solutions. If you can be a one-stop solution, it's even better. But we'll go to the next question when we can address this.
Okay, thank you so much. Andrea, what are some successful examples of joint product development between SMEs and corporates from your experience working with both?
Talán számunkra
For the Debrecen automotive cluster, the joint product is creating the cluster itself, because in this cluster we have 10 companies, founding companies, from big corporates to smaller SMEs, and the university is our 10th member. So this cooperation itself is our first product, let's say, which was the result of the cooperation, which resulted in that we could be founded in December. So collaboration. As also, we have a member here in Hungarian panelists, member of our cluster. What was very important that, of course, everyone is dealing with his or her own production, but it was very important to find some common targets, to define some common goals that we want to reach with the big corporates and the SMEs. And one of the most important products is training, education development, and the first cluster was created within the Debrecen automotive cluster, which is the dual education and developing and renewal of this. Why was this so important for us? Because our president BMW has a long history with this regard, dual education, dual training, so we can learn a lot from that, how young talents, students can be involved, how this training format can be renewed, but even the big corporates can learn a lot from the SMEs, and Gergő's companies, for example, very important, and their dual training system was presented to us, and how well motivation were. Asia is also very important, CATL and EasyBar, so they were very open they are at the state right now where they are about to start these dual education programs. We try to have a kind of unique education model, and this is an excellent format to develop this product together. But besides the dual training format, within this we try also to coordinate that this not so easy new generation, this Generation Z, who they're being said that they are not so motivated, but I'm careful with this because I myself have 3 children and from this generation. So the values, the corporate values are also being stressed and highlighted. So we have soft skill developments. We have started a new program there is teacher further training reform, so a mindset change we try to achieve when it comes to teachers on the basis of German examples, what it means, project attitude, critical thinking, argumentation skills, communication skills in a foreign language, because we see that even if the education in Hungary is developing, but still when the dual training begins, there are some deficiencies. So this is why we are concentrating right now in the cluster on these areas. Thank you.
I believe you have seen more and more direct communication between your members, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yes, there is intensive working going on in the cluster. Each month there are meetings, cooperations, and I will tell you more about this, that there are really the basis of common interests, like transport, coordinating, harmonizing transport in Debrecen is one of the main issues that we are focusing on, or within an industry park, the given company, so for employees, the buses, the trains, and so on, that there would be joint buses, for example, for an industrial park for all the employees working at these companies and not separate. So we are working on the development of different products.
That's a great example how also, let's say, local government can help communication and developments between the companies. Thank you for the description. Markus, how can corporates create a culture that welcomes external innovation from SMEs?
First of all, let me say, I think it's never a one-way road. So I think both partners definitely in the end of the day have to work on that. And if I address the big corporates, then my wish for the future would be that we go away from the I win, you lose mentality like we had it a long time ago. So during, let's say before COVID, this mentality disappeared because everybody needs each other. Otherwise, like Bosch also mentioned, you cannot grow if you not have the ecosystem. But what I see nowadays in certain sectors, not in every sector, but in certain sectors, that as business is going down at the moment, everybody trying to ramp up their walls again in the ecosystem. And I think that's wrong. We always should try to have a way of connectivity in the market. That's the one side. And the second for the big corporates is we should also overcome the not designed here mentality or the not designed here syndrome, which we faced in the past. So I work as a company where we do not have own products. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we don't have expertise. And if I approach a new customer, then I always have the barrier that especially quality engineers, test engineers, other engineers, they have done it the same way the last 20 years, and they are afraid that business is going away from them, that their business unit getting smaller, the headcount getting smaller. And this is something which is also not good in the end of the day for the corporation. Because a company like ours, we can help you a lot. So if we do business in healthcare, we do business in railway, in civil avionics, in military, I often have seen it that things we found out in military also helped a civil avionics company. So this is something I think we should more find a way to have connectivity. But, and as I mentioned, it's not a one-way road. We as SMEs, so my company is a revenue of 70 million euros and 300 people. According to German standards, we call ourselves still a SME, but we need to be more agile. So I see a lot of complaints from SMEs that, oh, I cannot play with the big guys, they don't let me in, I don't see how can I enter that kind of business. But first of all, we always need to find out, is there any pain at the customer? So whether it's growth or it's problems. And if we find out together with the customer by asking him, what is the problem you have? How can I help you to solve that? This is proactivity and agility which they need. So we cannot expect that the big guys turn to us and ask us for a favor. We need to address them. And if the corporates overcome the I do everything by myself, and if the SME overcome the I did it the same way the last 20 years, then I think that will work out. So again, it's not a one-way road.
Thank you, Markus. So openness and communication, the keywords, I would say, right?
Like always in life. So I always tell my sales guys, people buy from people. So not corporates buy from corporates, people buy from people. And we are in an industry where margin is not that big. So, but that's the nature of our business. But I'm pretty sure that a couple of percentage in price differences you can overcome by a good, reliable collaboration. And I think that's important. And don't work as a SME with discounts, and don't work with narrow-mindedness. Open up your mind, and rather than give a discount, try to do upselling. I think that's one of the key messages.
Thank you, Markus. Gerge, you are long established in Debrecen already. What infrastructure, from your point of view, is needed to support cross-sector and cross-border SME corporate alliances?
Nice question, Arne. Thank you. I was thinking about, and I mentioned already to you that if we see the definition of SMEs, I think small doesn't help us, because it helps that we are small and not good enough. And I think that's the first thing what you have to forget. It might be that you are small in terms of headcount, in terms of, sales, in terms of area what you have, but you have to be big enough, to think about the way how the big players are thinking. And that was one of the biggest challenge and achievement what we have done in the last 5 years, to understand the needs of the customer and to step up proactively, as you mentioned. The good thing is that within our internal network, the key word right now is that the data is the new currency. And therefore, we developed our own digital IT solution to support the supply chain information flow for our customers. So one thing is that how you pack a good, how you pack a big machine. That's kind of a skill what you need to have, no doubt about that. But beyond that, you need to make sure that you have the data in your hand, you know the actual situation, you know where the goods are, in what conditions, because that is giving some kind of confidence for the customers. So from first day on, we have used our own digital solutions in order to make sure that we know everything what the customers may not know. And this is a key factor to be successful for the future. We believe that we believe so. Let me also mention that the standardization and the engineering way of thinking is also important part of the story. So when we make a packaging in Debrecen, you can be sure that this is the same way of packaging what other Doifo location is doing, no matter where they are. That helps us, to be better, to be effective, and that also helps our customers to understand that the way how we pack will be exactly the same wherever they are. We also need to follow certain legislations in terms of IPPC standards and so on. So we need to follow those regulations as well. So I think those are the key areas what we realized at the very beginning.
I think that's one additionally very important topic you just mentioned, keeping up the standards and the quality.
Yeah, I agree. Just imagine when we are talking about a heavy machinery that usually costs a hell of money. That is the value of the customer, and they would like to see that the product will arrive in one piece, in a good condition. So our job is very crucial for the customer because to deliver a 40 tons of machine from Europe to Asia or wherever it has to be delivered, that's not an easy task. So you can tell them that, okay, I'm an innovative and I'm just going to cut down the cost and find alternative ways. But at the end of the day, this is their product, and probably this is also part of some other supply chain which are waiting for that product. So the quality and the standardization is crucial in our industry.
Thank you so much. Let's go into round two. I'm looking at the watch. We started late, so we can also finish late, right? So we don't want to cut this panel short. Okay, going into round two, round three. I'm not sure we will make it, but let's start with the second one. How will AI and, Vidor, for you the question, how will AI and automation impact SME corporate collaboration in the next 5 to 10 years?
So the reason I'm smiling is because when I read this question, I was like, okay, I have no idea. That's the first thing came to my mind. But what is really interesting is that at Continest, you met our production manager yesterday. He's a 24-year-old guy who graduated from the Budapest Technical University this year, and who is definitely the generation of the next generation of managers, of SME or corporate managers, for whom the AI is just as normal as having Wi-Fi and power, right? So it's like part of their daily routine. So I asked Bence yesterday, okay, give me some input on this, like what's the good answer? And he was like, well, I asked ChatGPT about it. so this is the mentality that we need to start embracing, and I'm not a very high-tech guy. I'm pretty much down to earth. I'm very practical, very pragmatical. But one more remark, and then I will try to focus on the question and the time pressure that we have is that I had a discussion about psychological processes and like going to therapy and all that. And I asked ChatGPT one very, very human and very personal question. And the answer that ChatGPT gave to me made me think about, do I need a therapist anymore? You know, like I have a free or 20 euros per month therapist on my phone, which I can use anywhere in the world. This question I addressed it in Tokyo in a hotel room. But anyway, getting back to the main question. So reading through ChatGPT's answers, I can highlight two things that are definitely practical, and we've seen it in our own life. One is supply chain improvement. So us as an SME, we are quite struggling, with reaching out to suppliers, reaching out to raw material manufacturers. We talked about this issue also yesterday, like steel and other components or other raw materials. And many times when we give quotations to customers, I have the feeling that we screwed something up because I think that the cost of the product should be lower, but I don't have really any database to support this. It's more of a gut feeling, and this is where AI actually is already and will be able to provide more certainty and more precision and more speed. Like how can you screen your suppliers? How can you screen for a certain product or a certain service on the global network? Right. That's the point of the AI. It's global. It's international. It doesn't matter what language are you using, because ChatGPT is basically a language platform. This is where I see one of the big advantages from our point of view, and this I think translates into the corporate SME partnerships as well, because it's as Markus said, it is a two-way road all the time. So it's true for the corporates towards us, it's true for us towards the corporations. Then the other thing is also a personal experience that I'm facing today as an ongoing issue, is that I showed you yesterday the pictures from Saudi Arabia. We're currently building 1,060 square meter temporary infrastructure facility at 2,003 meter above sea level in Saudi Arabia, literally in the middle of nowhere. The customer is called NEOM. It is the largest property development project in the world. It is a semi-governmental project and company run by international management in a Saudi tax and law environment. So I think you cannot really mess it up more than this in any way. And for us as an SME, it's critical to get connected to these global projects and global enterprises, and we managed to get the contract. We managed to get the contract 1 year ago. And when we started implementing the project, we faced the compliance and all the legal issues that we had no idea that will come. And not legal issue in your sense, like how can you be compliant with rules and regulations that you're not aware of, you're getting aware of on site, and then this delays 24 hours, 72 hours on a 2-week deployment, right? So what I expect from the AI SME point of view, it's better understanding of frameworks, better understanding of how can you be compliant with certain very complex regulations, and how can you address these. So there is a lot more. ChatGPT gave me a lot of ideas what to look for, but I think supply chain and compliance and readiness to be able to handle complex issues and time saving. That's the other thing, like optimization. And it was very interesting. I talked to one guy from Croatia who was into AI in marketing. Like, how can you use AI in marketing? And he said one of his things that his workflow became so efficient that he has one free day now. And then I was like, okay, probably he's sailing or fishing one day on the Adriatic Sea. But he said, no, what I'm doing is I'm learning. So on this free day that I have, due to AI, I'm not going having beer with my friends. I'm learning what's the next thing that we need to prepare for. So this is a very interesting change of like how things are done and how things are going to be done due to this new beast that came into our everyday life. And I think instead of fighting it, this is an advice to myself. I'm trying to embrace it in a way that it helps me also with my therapeutic questions. Thank you.
And you just gave away 2 secrets right now. First, that you knew the question in advance. I completely deny that. And ChatGPT. But yes, coming back to it, I think, yes, ChatGPT, it's just the beginning, right? I mean, we will hear later from László, who just arrived, welcome, about AI. I think ChatGPT is just the beginning of the things we will see in the next 5-10 years. So let's say innovation, which was until now, let's say, done by our brains, will be maybe done by AI, right?
I'm not an AI expert by any means. I'm never going to be one. But what I understand is that yes, ChatGPT is basically a language platform, right? So it gathers the data from the global databases and it translates in a way that I don't know how to pronounce it in English, but as ChatGPT thinks that it will please you in the best way. But definitely this is just the surface, and we are learning new terms that are either scary or encouraging. I think they're more encouraging because, supply chain workspace or jobs in the supply chain industry probably will be affected by the AI. That's partially is treated as a fact already. But those people will probably be able to do another job with high added value in some other industries. So I think that it's just the beginning. It's definitely something that I need to learn a lot about if I want to keep up with the trend, especially if we're going to start competing with a 20-year new wave management. Yeah, maybe as a founder I don't need to compete with them, but somebody who is not in the position of a founder, then I think that's an issue that you need to really start learning a lot about what's next, what's coming next.
Yeah, I fully agree. Andrea, coming back more to something traditional, what collaboration models work best from your point of view with the members of your organization? Supplier partnerships, joint ventures, incubators, or accelerators, or are all of them, let's say, different?
Én most Márira nézem. Válaszolni.
Yeah, I try to keep it short and simple, my answer. So, as I mentioned before, it is a prerequisite for the functioning of the cluster. Of course, we also use ChatGPT and other apps like this, but we have strategic partnerships as our basic founding stone. So, and in these strategic partnerships, let me add to what Alec also said, that it is an important task of the cluster to strengthen SMEs and to give them this identification feeling that they are also big and they are also very important and play a significant role. And within the Debrecen cluster, SMEs are the most active members from the founding members of the cluster. And with this strategic partnership, we also want to show and enable that also but otherwise, smaller companies have difficult possibilities meeting corporates, and cluster enables such meetings and enables this joint learning possibilities that even an OEM can learn from a smaller company, from an SME project mindset, which can be very beneficial for an OEM and for corporates. They can show best practices for smaller companies concerning supply management and tendering processes, workshops, further trainings. So at certain strategic points, we cooperate together, and it's really business for business mindset and mentality that we have in this cooperation. So the city is our important partner, but they are just an honorary member within the clusters, so they have no decision-making right. Precisely that the business actors can be really there for the rooms themselves. And concerning this cluster cooperation and transport, public transport and the airport, developing that, so expats, we try to harmonize their travel needs. That is also an important aspect for the cluster. And we also have the HR matters, and we also will have an HR cluster shortly, because we have a labor shortage problem and fluctuation problem, and it is important to talk about these issues, and it can lead to a further aspect of this cooperation. And then a third matter, which is important concerning a strategic cooperation in Debrecen, there are more and more foreign companies. Already now we have a lot, and more are coming, and we can learn a lot from each other, the intercultural aspects, how to integrate foreign employees in the corporate culture and into the city life, and this is also a common strategic interest. Thank you.
I would go, Markus, to you. You mentioned already you are not really having your own products. So what role do digital platforms play in the connection of SMEs and bigger corporates from your point of view?
I think a big one. Let me share 2 examples with you I saw during my career around the globe. So one from the US, one from Israel. In the US, this kind of culture of platforms, working with platforms, this is already existing for a quite long time. So in the past, I worked with an accelerator called Plug and Play in the US. Maybe some of you already heard from these guys. PayPal, for example, they raised the first 5 cents through these guys. So Elon Musk is not talking about this nowadays anymore, but this was his start in Palo Alto. And these guys very early already set a digital footprint on that. So not these typical association meetings, which are important, but they really had a, let's say, quick and dirty approach, and also a win fast, lose fast approach. So give it a try, check out if it's working. If it's not working, push it away, try the next time. I think that is saving costs, and that also saving us from disappointment. And the other example I want to share is also something I was very impressed on. Today I heard that Hungarian companies also do this partially, but maybe some of you heard already from the Startup Nation Central in Tel Aviv. So these guys, they have a total different approach like we are used to have it in Europe. They're also using these digital platforms, but they put it around. So it's not that startups working on solutions and then pitch them to potential investors, but the investors, they're turning to this Startup Nation Center, they're pitching their problem, then they send all the startups back home, they're working on a potential solution and come up with an idea 6, 8, 10 weeks later. And again, you opt for digital platforms if we not try to combine all that stuff, that information, you said it today, data is the new currency, then we get lost, because our lives nowadays are much faster than in the past. So when I competed 10 years ago, then I competed with 1 or 2 companies. Nowadays, an RFQ or a benchmark is sent out in milliseconds, and hundreds of companies can participate. And if I just put it down on the costs of goods, that is not enough. And that's why I think if you have a good digital platform, like the examples I mentioned, you're definitely in an advantage.
I think that was very interesting information. Definitely, I'm sure not known for everyone that those kind of platforms actually reverse the situation, that the problem is pitched and then the solution will be developed. I think that's very interesting.
And I think that's maybe not something for every industry. So there is this, let's say, this conservative classical industries which might be not so open for that. But when you really step into consumer electronics or even on automotive solutions, the Chinese, by the way, they do it the same way. So the Chinese, they are very efficient. I lived 2 years in China and I learned a lot from these guys. So we talked about this morning. So let's find the connectivity with these digital platforms. Not confrontation, not ideology, but yeah, moving on and find a common solution.
Thank you, Markus. Because of time, last question. Gergo goes to you. If you would have one piece of advice to SMEs and or to the big corporations, how to cooperate better with each other or even how to start the process, what would you give them?
So you skipped one of the questions which I was preparing
Which questions?
for.
I deny that.
Okay.
You want the other one?
Yeah, because, you know, I had a short story, but yeah, I know. But I have to admit that I used to work for big tier 1, tier 2 suppliers for different kind of industries. Now I'm representing an SME, so I have some kind of broad experience, and I would like to stay in the middle. And I would like to walk out, you know, without the big players beat me. But anyhow, I believe the one advice I could give is to, you know, start real collaborations. And, you know, I would highlight real cooperations because everybody's talking about for a long time. But when we are talking about and when we see the details, then there are a lot of things which could be improved, both from the SME side and both from the big player side. Just a couple of examples. I would like to mention one method. I was not the inventor of it, but I use it very frequently on a daily basis called KISS method, which is keep it simple, stupid. And I raise simple questions to the SMEs, such as, are you ready for your financial planning for this year and for the next 3 years? If you don't have a financial planning, then how do you want to prepare the challenges ahead of you? But also on the other side, on the big players, 180 days payment terms. Come on, why do you want to do this? What is the benefit of doing this? This is just play with the numbers. It might help, you know, to impress your KPIs, like your working capital is in a better shape. But at the end of the day, this is extra cost for all of us. So such kind of simple things, I think, would help us to really understand what has to be done on the SME side, but also on the other side, what the big players can help for the SMEs to be better.
Thank you so much. I think there's nothing more to add. I have a very long summary, which I would like to start now. No, I'm just joking. Thank you all for the participation, for the preparation, for your time. I think it was a very fruitful, interesting panel with a lot of aspects. We could continue this, of course. There are many more aspects we could cover. But for today, that's it. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Please come back to the room, okay? 15 minutes. Thank you.